Hello, welcome back. Another week, another co-op tier list creating. I am joined again by Cranberry and Dusk.
How's it going, folks? I will take the lead from Cranberry this time.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, power move.
I got a new alias. It's a secret alias because by the time this video goes up, the videos it's related to are not going to exist yet.
Okay.
But I'm very excited to announce that my new alias is Gary Bonfire, Libertarian Fire Mage.
What?
What?
Yeah. I've been playing. I think I might have actually not mentioned it to either of you, but I've been playing and recording a Skyrim total conversion mod,
Ah,
and in it, it's a couple episodes in before I assumed the identity, but like I'm really liking Gary Bonfire, Libertarian Fire Mage.
that sounds very fun.
I
Yeah.
cannot wait to see what the hell that means.
I mean, what's it sound like? It's I'm
Uh,
trying to small government, big fire. Like, come
yeah,
on.
uh-huh. Yeah, that
Oh
does make
yeah, that makes
sense.
perfect sense.
If you ever see anyone in a horse and cart and they show you a driver's license, you incinerate them, I imagine.
I believe the first thing I thought was, what's next? Am I gonna need a license to toast with my own damn fire hands?
That is that sounds about right. Yeah. That
Yeah.
That's tough.
it's funny because someone in the Discord said, "What are the odds that Cranberry's recording a Skyrim series right now?" Because they saw you doing Skyrim, and I thought to
Oh, that's pretty
myself,
funny.
"That's ridiculous." But they were correct. Whoever that was, if you're watching
Wow.
this video, you're a
Yo,
super genius.
high IQ strats there for sure.
I think it might have been friend, but I don't want to put a name out there. Anyway, Dusk, I know you said we had 70 minutes before you had to go, so why don't we get this thing
Oh
a
yeah.
rolling?
No rush, no rush. We'll
Yeah,
get through it in
yeah,
time.
yeah, no doubt. I'm confident in our abilities. But
Uh,
shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. So I've already set up my list as it was last week. Cranberry added in the Awokens, and we're just going to go through and add Awoken onto the list. I did also zoom in this week. Someone mentioned last week it would be nice if I zoomed in if I was going to keep recording like this, so I did. Didn't even really realize. But starting off, we got Awoken Hellhorned. Uh, Fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, one thing I'm going to say up front is I don't think any of the Awoken combos are really unbelievably good or unbelievably bad. It's Awoken. I
Mm-hmm.
think this clan is great in general. So they're all kind of somewhere in between,
mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I think though between all of the clans, maybe presumptive, but I think Awoken's probably one of the best pairings or Hellhorn's one of the best pairings for Awoken.
Yeah, they're very
Um,
good.
Generally, there's that little bit of anti synergy with armor in general, right? Like you don't need both armor and healing. You usually do one or the other. But like just rage, basically that's it. Just rage on the extremely good units in Awoken is like a pretty easy just move to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, you've got the adaptive mutation in this for rage, which is incredible.
mhm,
And pretty much any awoken unit is really good when you slap big rage numbers on them. The
mhm.
two sweepers, animus of will. I mean, you win with any of those three easily. So, and this is Pax Sentient, who is a perfectly effective frontline, even in the divinity. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Agree. Uh, Not much more to
No,
say.
nothing super amazing. You also have access to, like you said, the sweep units, especially important with Hellhorn because Brandon Warrior is really not great. In my opinion, does not a stellar unit. Pretty great infusion on a sweeper.
Hmm.
Pretty cool. So
Yeah.
there's that.
All you have to do is
Um,
kill one thing and you win. And a torch is a really good secondary for Awoken because you lack the ability to deal with backlines generally early on, and it makes your beginning game very nice. I think with the Impling, it's pretty tough, but that is, I think Torch is significantly better in that respect, but still.
Yeah. Uh, Rage sweep. One thing, Cranberry, I'm surprised you didn't mention Alpha Fiend sweep
oh yeah, that's true. That's true as well. Yep.
or Alpha Fiend Animus of Will. Not something that I find myself doing all that often, but you know.
run that I think failed recently doing Alpha Fiend Infusion on a sweeper, and I don't think it was Alpha Fiend Infusion's fault. There
Hmm.
was some other issue that caused me to like oh no, that's what it was. I took a spike trial and the sweeper got like murdered, and then it was also Crystal
Classic.
Cloak that shut me down, and I think I was Windleton, so I didn't have an actual strong frontliner for the Crystal Cloak.
Uh,
That'll do it.
yeah, that'll get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give them an A tier for this combo.
Yeah, I have it in A tier as well. I think it's really strong. Always find a line to win pretty easily here. And yeah, it's just good.
Yeah,
I have it A tier as well.
I think that it's worth noting the difference between this clan and the S tier Hellhorned Awoken is that when you're playing Hellhorned Awoken, you never have Queen's Impling. And
That's fair.
that is like I feel like that's the big thing. That you also lose the synergy of like buffing Brawler Prince in this combo, which brings it down a little bit as well. But the big one is since we're doing these as an overall ranking, you never ever start with Queen's Impling in Hellhorned Awoken, but in Awoken Hellhorned with the way that we're doing this, sometimes you might.
Yeah,
And
I
it,
pretty much never want to start with Implings when you think
yep,
about it. I'm trying to
yeah,
imagine, just never give me that card.
never. Maybe
It is required for machine gun strats. I want to point out.
yeah,
You
but
can do
like
some. You can do some. You can do some cool stuff with Queen's Implings.
Sure, I'll give you that. But I
Um,
don't like seeing them. They're slow, they're expensive, they're hard to play. But anyway,
I think maybe with melting, if you're playing Harvest, it could be okay, but eh.
mhm.
Uh,
There's one more thing I wanted to say too. Oh, I think the sentient is kind of also the reason keeping it from S tier is that like it doesn't synergize well with with the Hellhorn in general, right?
yeah,
It's not you can like cultivate a Horned Warrior maybe stuff like that. You can do some sort of stuff like with that specific combo, but there's not a whole lot of stuff the sentient helps out with other than being like an okay tank.
yeah. Well, I think
yeah.
that a common theme over the course of this tier list is going to be the sentient doesn't really synergize with anything. The sentient just exists. If you have Spike Sentient, there is not really much you're doing with it. You can give it survivability, sure, but you can get survivability from within Awoken. Awoken, I feel like as a clan, is probably the most self-sufficient. Maybe Melting is up there, but like Awoken usually sticks to its own game plan, and the sentient is no different.
Yeah. Yeah, you're never gonna see anything totally crazy like, oh, sentient synergizes with this thing over here in this other clan.
Hmm.
No,
No.
it's always just, well, she performs admirably and does her own thing, and that's just about fine. So,
Yeah, you got Spike Sentient, or you have Draw Relic. I feel
Yeah.
like are your two paths with that character.
yep, totally.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Nah.
Okay. Then we got Exile Awoken Hellhorn. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, the only difference here is Windleton,
mhm.
and I I don't know. On the one hand, I think Hellhorned is the one clan that can kind of prop up something like Strangler with big damage numbers.
Yeah.
So you get like Strangler 1, Predator 2, and you can just clean house with a good rage start. But Winston's really hard to work with on this as well because he's big. There's not going to be a lot of room for imps, and if you're not playing imps, you're missing a big part of what makes Hellhorn good.
Yep.
So I kind of go back and forth. I have this at B tier because I think there's enough there for it to be good, but I think it's definitely worse than the sentient combo.
This is all true, and I guarantee if I played 100 runs of this combo, my opinion probably would change. But for some reason, I'm the luckiest man in the world, and I always see Predator. And I feel like Predator is like required for Windleton to work, especially in this combo. So it just always works well for me. And I think one of the big issues Windleton has issues with is survivability. And Hellhorn gives you armor, which is independent of the unit's base health, which is pretty nice. So there's some cool things Windleton does here that it doesn't do in other clan combinations, but I think that I'm just the luckiest man in the world, and I always see uh, Predator for some reason. If I could definitely see some runs where I get like Strangler, Thorn Lord, and I'm like, oh no, I lose.
Well,
But
so
it doesn't happen to me.
I feel like personally, I think that Wendleton has two good paths. I like Thornlord. I think it's good. And I also think that Predator is fine. Strangler I'm kind of going back and forth on. Strangler you need a lot to happen and go right. Like I don't think you could play Strangler with Stygian, but you can play Strangler with Hellhorn and with Wormkin probably.
Mhm.
Also, when we get to melting, we can talk about my dream scenario that'll never happen. However, I think that the big thing that puts this one, I'm going to end up dropping this in B tier. I'm pretty confident, and the main reason is just as Dusk said, a lot of Hellhorn strategies that win play imps, and in Awoken you're usually playing champion plus character, like champion plus sweeper or champion plus animus or champion plus horn warrior, right? And the problem that you face is that 3 plus 2 is 5, and that forces you to take space. And then if you take space and you're trying to play an imp, you have to play top or bottom floor on the divinity, or you have to take double space, right? And there's a lot of inflexibility in this clan combo. I feel like it forces you
Right.
into
Oh,
specific
definitely.
things, but it's still good, right? You're still playing Awoken Hellhorn at the end of the day, and I think it goes B tier for that.
Exactly. I mean, you have
Mhm.
root seeds. You can't go wrong. I mean, root seeds plus Hellhorn is alone pretty winning. Honestly,
Yeah,
you
Mhm.
can find a line there, even if you just throw Windleton away. Although you probably won't because he's good enough to at least be functional. But yeah, I agree. B tier, I think it's solid, but nothing impressive to me.
yeah,
The size issue is definitely real. But I've had even with root seeds, I've had times where I've just gone size upgrade, energy upgrade, and then with the root seeds, card draw isn't an issue either. Then and the run
yeah.
works pretty well still.
That
And also one thing to note too, it's a cool strategy. I'm sure you guys have done it before. Using 25 HP endless imp to chump block in front of Windleton
mm-hmm.
is pretty nice too, because it
Oh
like
yeah,
again he's fragile, right? He's got especially if you're like Predator 3 or whatever, he's only got 30 health. That imp chumping every turn again in Divinity usually either dies or you're so strong it doesn't matter that he doesn't die. So
Yeah,
it's cool.
that is fair. You are right. Also, Exile Awoken, you don't really need to take draw with all that often, so
Mhm.
you do like taking space isn't as big of a downside in this clan combo, and so the imps are usually easy enough to work out. Wendleton, you do really need to find some sort of healing card for him, though. I feel like, and Hellhorn also has armor options, as you've said, so it's
Mhm.
good. Like, there's this clan is fine. It's just not quite as good as A tier, I think, personally.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I could go either way though. Although starting with Queen's Implings is also extremely Daniels. You don't like
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between Torch and Queen's Impling is big here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Torch is great. Queen's Impling is just a slog, and you have 5 dead cards that you wish you didn't have.
Yeah.
So,
Important to keep in mind that in the early game, the Queen's Impling's damage is going to be pretty relevant in regards to killing heavies, right? You're going
Yeah.
to have your quick Windleton
oh yeah,
with Predator, and if you play one or two Implings, you're going to kill the heavies in one hit and take no damage
yeah.
on
I
your
mean,
units.
I don't want to talk down about them from that perspective. They do get you through the early game. They're functional. I mean, it's the
Mhm.
same reason you play Frozen Lances, even though they're not particularly exciting either.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, what happens once you hit like Ring 4 is you just stop playing the Implings because you don't have the Ember to get rid of them,
Yeah.
and your Ember is better spent on other things, and they just become curses basically.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah, especially with Root Seeds, you draw more of the deck at a time, so you're going to see more cards you want to play. Uh, but yeah, also worth noting that if you have Queen's Impling and you have Thornlord, you play Queen's Impling, you play Thornlord, you can kill a heavy in the first ring, which is good. Mostly kill a heavy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this combo is fine regardless. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Pretty divisive combo coming up. Awoken Stygian. It's
Eh,
yeah. Oh man, this combo is really good.
Yeah, it turns out Root Seeds or Restores with Sirens and Incants is really strong, right?
Yep.
It's
mhm.
You've got Stings in the combo, so you can easily generate a tons of cards, and you could play something like 12 to 14 cards in a turn, all spells, draw 10 cards a turn. It's pretty great. I love seeing it. You hit like Founding Seal, and you just kind of cruise. So
You hit Founding Seal and Stygian, and no matter what you're cruising, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, there are definitely combos where like Founding Seal can be kind of a bait, where you only have a Siren but not enough spells, and it can be tough. right? Like if you have like melting or something, I mean, but in this case, it's like you have so many spells and so many ways to generate spells that it's just
Mhm.
crazy. I've got both. Well, spoilers. I've got both of the Stygian combos in this on S tier personally.
All right, that's fair. I for the first one here, I'm gonna give it A tier because I wanna reserve S tier. I think that this is probably I've been kind of ordering them within A tier, and this is like the top end of A tier. I feel, but
Mhm.
it's it's a good combo. You covered everything more or less. Uh, I do feel like Sentient again doesn't bring much to this combo, and with Exile Stygian, it can be a little more iffy, but even then, it's still really good. Awoken brings, even default Awoken brings extra draw, and extra draw is more spells, and more spells is Stygian going off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What we were gonna compare them in a second, I'm sure, but the one thing that we don't have here is root seeds, which is a big
Mm-hmm.
issue, right?
Yeah.
The sentient, you can take it or leave it, right? But and while restore does help fuel the incant train, not it doesn't do quite as good of a job as root seeds does.
Yeah. On the other side, I do think that a single space take with Sentient in front and two Sirens behind is extremely strong floor
Yeah.
because she's just, I mean, cultivating Sentient, for instance, is more card draw and is also scaling for any of your Sirens. And your Sirens will also be scaling really well. So I feel like Sentient's really good for her own reasons. And yeah, I really like her in this combo too. That's why I have them both at the top because they both offer something different, but each is really, really strong in kind of the area where it's good.
Yeah. I think that I would argue that Spike Sentient is less good in this combo, and that's also a point against it. But it's less good because there's Shark, more or less, and
Hmm.
it's not a
Yeah.
great point against it. But you know,
That's
I
fair. I mean, like, yeah, you may. The only advantage then is that you kind of have it answered from the beginning, which
yeah,
is the one
Mhm.
perk there.
and you don't have to draw Shark, which is good too. But
The
usually,
the
go ahead, Cranberry.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say that there's another minor point of contention, but you finish first.
No, I was just gonna say basically with this combo, you're probably so far ahead that it doesn't really matter what you're doing.
Hmm. My thing was that again back to what I said before about Hellhorn. There's another anti-armor synergy here with healing. Not
That's
as
true.
relevant, but you have the incant stone, you have armor shark, you have the armor totem. You have ways to generate armor, and there's often times where you don't care about the healing spells because they're just spells. But it's nice when your healing spells actually are relevant too. So there's oftentimes you're playing your spells purely for incant purposes and not for actually healing purposes.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. I think any closing thoughts? Cranberry, did you say where you put this one?
Oh, I put it at A tier. I don't know.
Okay.
It's still a little iffy for me. There's
Yeah.
sometimes you try to incant and you just don't quite get there. In the mid-ish game, I feel like. But once you get set up, you give your siren a multi strike, you dupe it, you're good to go. Um, but sometimes you don't survive that long.
Yeah. I'm also like one of the other reasons this is going in A tier. This is a combo that can definitely move up to S tier depending on what S tier is looking like later on. But I feel like particularly after the melting day, S tier is going to fill up quite a bit. But
Hmm.
I
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I kind of want to avoid this being driven too much by champion is busted, therefore every one of their combos must be an S tier. But
yeah,
but yeah,
It is kind of how it's probably going to end up going.
we could
kinda yeah.
honestly, it might be smart to just make another tier above S called the Little Fade tier, where we just put
Okay.
all of the Little Fade clan combos because Little Fade is so absurd.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. We'll have to see when we get to melting. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, like it's gonna
Mhm.
because there are combos with Little Fade that are better than other combos with Little Fade, but Little Fade's worst is probably an echelon above everyone else's best.
Oh, certainly. I can't imagine any of her combos being under A tier
Yeah,
in
but
this
like
scale.
and but then you look
Yeah.
at like okay, well Little Fade with Welder Helper is better than Little Fade with Stygian, so what do we do here? Am I supposed to knock this one down? I don't know. It's a tough one. We can cross that bridge when we get to it.
Pretty sure it's
Yeah.
Umbra, right? It's Umbra Little Fade's probably the worst one. I'm just thinking about it now real quick.
Probably, yeah. Although
Okay.
you can like,
Probably, but you can do things like
Damage
maybe.
shield, little Icarus, which is fun.
Oh, I was gonna say like you can use Morsel Maker, Morsel Master to do some silly things with Firelight, but
Oh wow.
yeah. I actually think I had a run recently that was Morsel Master with multi strike behind Little Fate or something like that. Oh no, that
That's
was
it.
behind the Aura Chef actually. I had two Morsel Masters and I was making morsels to kill enemies. That's what it was. That was
That's
a good
pretty
one.
cool.
Yeah. But that's Little Fate is a bridge for later. Back to the task at hand.
Hmm.
We have Exile, Awoken, Stygian. I think this is a hard S tier.
Yeah.
This is a really strong combo.
yeah, I mean you've got an incant ability on Windleton himself
Mm-hmm.
in front of
Hmm.
incant sirens and things. It's and you have root seeds, so you draw more cards. It's unbelievable. I think
Yep.
if you had to make me pick like which of these two combos is better, I would definitely pick the root seeds combo for sure.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like I can't ever look at this combo in any form and go, well, that feels bad. They're just so strong together.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I There's not a whole lot new between what we just talked about with default Awoken Stygian and Exile Awoken Stygian. The only thing that's different is instead of having a card that is usually good because it's a targetless incant in Restore, you have a card that draws you more cards and is just a free incant and is absolutely ridiculous. Root Seeds is bonkers with incant.
Good.
Yeah, good.
It's neat. Windleton's kind of weird though. If
Yeah.
you miss on Thornlord, I mean, Thornlord's great because you get the three stings. Like it's pretty sick. You can mix in Predator too, because like why not kill things before they get to attack? That's sometimes pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you usually don't need Strangler because, like you said, you have Hot Shark, so Hot Shark should be pretty good backline clear.
Yep.
So, but you could end up, I don't know, seeing Predator Thornlord and just getting Predator. Like you probably between Predator Thornlord, I'll pick Predator, and then you might end up just getting Predator all three things. So you just never see a Thornlord. So I don't know. It's a little weird sometimes. And if you miss Hot Shark, you can also take Strangler too. As like it's because he's incanting and you're incanting so much, he should have enough damage to kill backline. And then your Sirens kill heavies, and that's it. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Although three space is an issue there. Much harder to do double Sirens behind Windleton.
Yeah, but not too much worse. I feel like you can also just put like a scaling infusion. You can put Siren of the Sea onto Shattered Shell, and then that's a defensive option for Shattered Shell also. And that can just go behind your Wendleton, and that's a winning line also.
Yes.
Lots of good choices in this combo. I feel like just a ton. Anything else?
I think that covers it really. We've already kind
Yeah,
of hit everything here.
yeah. It's just hey, you have Root Seeds, which is much better.
Mhm.
Uh, oh, this is the combo that I don't know how I feel about, but this is Awoken Umbra. I generally speaking, this is a combo that, much like a lot of Umbra runs where their Umbra is secondary, you just kind of don't take anything in Umbra. You play Awoken in this combo and you go, well, bye Umbra. I think this is like, comparatively, I think this is a C tier.
I mean, yeah, I think this is a really bad clan for a combo for a lot of reasons because you can ignore Umbra to the best of your ability, but sometimes you just don't see awoken units and you just have to take something from Umbra and it's going to force its way into your run. And in those cases, you're really struggling. I mean, because
Yes.
think about all of the units you have available to you. You've got the Morsel Maker Master, which do nothing with Sentient, and you don't even really want most cases. At least Morsel Maker can be infused away, but still. And then you've got the Crucible Warden Collector duo, which are redundant and worse than the Sentient. And then you've got what, Shadow Eater and Alloyed Construct? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I rank this as like, I personally think this is one of the hardest clan combos you could possibly see just because of how incongruent the strategies are.
Yep.
And I have it at D tier, but I honestly I could even go to F tier on this one in particular. I think it's really bad.
Yeah.
I have it in D tier as well. There, I mostly agree with Dusk. And I think the reason why I don't put it in F tier is just because like Awoken still has good units no matter how you slice it. You might get unlucky and have a run where you have like no Awoken banners, and that's tough then. But that's sometimes how the game goes, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of a weird one for sure. Maybe one of the least synergistic clans in the game. Like there's nothing you want to do with these two. I guess sort of in a way, like you could put a lot of damage shield on a Thorned Hollow. That's kind of a cool combo, right?
Oh, if we're
Right?
talking
Like,
about that, that's a struggle.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. They're very anti-synergistic, and I put it in D tier as well, just because like Awoken's doing the heavy lifting here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you. There's like one cool fusion in this combo that I think gets a bad rap and is probably better than most people give it credit for. Shadow Eater into Thorned Hollow is pretty darn strong if you can
Oh my
proc a lot
god.
of gorges on it.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah.
You can get spikes to the point where you kill heavies. It's not great, but it is functional sometimes. But these runs are rough, and the main problem is Umbra has no backlines at all. I mean, okay, Morsel Maid, but at that point, Morsel Maid wins your run, and you don't care about any of these other comments anyway. So whatever, and that is really what cripples it. I find that if I miss the Awoken units, I just lose. Or I mean, I don't lose, but I come really damn close, and that's always a struggle. I don't love that, so pretty risky.
Yeah. The problem, as you guys have stated, the big problem that this combo faces is that Umbra can't play with the sentient. If you don't have Spike sentient on another floor being on their own, you cannot play the sentient with this combo. I guess maybe you could play rejuvenating sentient as a backline, but
With,
uh,
with what?
yeah,
Itself? Like you're buffing itself? Like
no. So you put a Umbra unit in front that is eating and getting the gorge value, and then you have your sentient behind, which you're healing. The constant problem with that is that you're healing a unit that's not taking any damage, and you're
yeah.
just wasting so much. But I mostly put this in C tier because when you see Awoken units, it's good, and usually you will see Awoken units. Like on the average run, you're going to be fine. But if you play enough runs of this combo, eventually you're going to have one where they show you your only Awoken unit is like Animus of Speed, and that run is going to really suck. But yeah, there's not enough space in the world to play a frontliner from Umbra and play an Awoken unit and then gorge enough that your Umbra frontliner matters. That's the problem. And that's the problem that Umbra faces a lot.
Hey, can we do a quick side tangent?
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Entirely unrelated to what we're talking about. I just remembered how I used this series to berate Dusk for issues with the game.
Uh-huh.
Oh God, what do you got for me
Okay.
now?
Dusk, I want to ask you a question. It's a pretty good math question, right? What's
Okay.
25 divided by 2?
12.
It depends on rounding. Oh, in what
It does.
context?
In Monster Train.
When do you ever divide by 2 like that in Monster Train?
I'm doing the expert challenges still. The tithe makes us you to get half money for everything, right?
Yeah.
Explain to me why when I have a 25 gold relic that I'm choosing to skip, it only gives me 10 gold.
Yeah, it's
25
weird. I
divided
know.
by 2 is
Wait.
you round down or round up. I'm okay with either. 12 or 13. 10 is not half of 25.
I think they did this intentionally to avoid having weird numbers of money.
Oh,
And then they went and implemented corrosive cash, which
Yeah.
yes,
gives you
'cause
like -1 gold or 2 gold here and there. And
Hey,
it's incongruent. I agree.
hey, Cranberry.
Yes.
Have you played that half money income modifier with Wickless Tycoon?
Oh no.
Do you know what half of 5 is, Cranberry?
Don't tell me it's 0.
It's 5.
What?
Yeah.
I mean that's still cool, but what the fuck?
Yeah, it's 5. When I did that challenge, I had Wickless Tycoon, and I was just like, oh, so this unit's unaffected, huh?
Now I'm
Yeah,
gonna write
because
down
they
some
don't want to
notes.
give you 0 and they don't want to give you a weird
2? They don't
number.
want to give you 2?
Yeah, they don't want to give you a weird number. But then corrosive cash exists. So whatever. I don't know. I can't speak for them here, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, tangent over. My bad.
No, I hear ya. I did think that one was weird. Final positionings for Awoken Umbra. I said C. You guys both said D,
Oh,
right?
I'm yeah, D tier.
I think
Yeah, D
that
for sure.
when we talk about this next one, I'm probably actually going to move it down because the Exile Awoken Umbra, eh, it's like again same things, but you have root seeds this time. I think that this one is actually C, and I'm gonna move default Awoken down to D for myself.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is you can throw away Windleton and then do something with root seeds into an Umbra line. I don't
Mhm.
love Umbra lines in general. They're risky. They require answering problems you don't have with any other clan, like
Mhm.
morsels. They're bad. Um, and yeah, I think it's fine. I do have this combo in C, so I think it's less bad than the sentient, but still not great.
I didn't think about it too much. Just put them both in D, but I do like the premise of root seeds in an Umbra line, especially with something like Alloy Construct. I think it helps a lot in that sort of deck because, like, your Alloy Construct's probably hitting 3 or 4 times, so the root seeds damage buff could be pretty relevant. So yeah, I think I'll move it actually up to C. Windleton doesn't do much though with Umbra still, and Awoken still doesn't work well with Umbra. So I don't know, but they're both good clans.
So, two dumb ideas for you here. One, imagine if Enchant Quick made the morsels get eaten faster. That'd be pretty cool, right?
I've been saying this forever. It would make Shadow Eater an actual like not annoying unit to
Yeah,
play.
that's true.
That would be an interesting approach. Quick on a Gorger would eat
Yeah,
before.
free
Huh.
combat. Yeah, why not?
That would be cool.
Number two, significantly less coherent. Have you considered in Awoken Umbra, you could pick Cycle of Life to keep your morsels alive through the sweep?
That's not the. I mean,
That's tough.
it's pretty tough. I've done what's it called? The four mana damage shield everyone one.
Yeah, yeah.
I've done that to keep morsels alive before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that also applies damage shield to everyone.
Hmm.
It makes more sense than cycle of life for one morsel to live.
Just every day remember that Cycle of Life versus the Wormkin one, you're paying one
Mhm.
energy per spike on Cycle of Life.
Ooh, one thing we have to talk about in
Ugh.
general for this clan combo, the sweeper trample combo.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, Umbra Stone's pretty nice with Awoken strategies,
Yep.
if you're not familiar. And I might actually have the mechanic wrong, but my understanding of the way it works is when you trample over a backliner with sweep and trample, the damage gets applied to the frontmost unit. It's not the unit behind that one, it's the frontmost unit. So if you're like
You're correct.
Yep.
if you have like a 100 damage sweeper and there's like let's say a 150 HP frontliner and two HP backliners, the front guy gets hit with like 200 extra damage because of how much it's trampling over the people behind.
Yep,
Yep.
that's true.
So pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. I mean, my main problem with it is just that there are no good scaling infusions in Awoken or Umbra. You've got like Morsel Maker, which is fine, and you've got, I guess, Shattered Shell, which is acceptable if you have also things like Root Seeds or a Razor Sharp Edge or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're never going to hit huge numbers with a sweeper in this clan combo, and that's kind of the real problem, I think. You don't have something like Rage or Incanting or whatever that can boost it up to really excellent levels. So,
It definitely doesn't always work as well, but you also have Morsel Spike to if you want to do something crazy with a sweeper. You can sometimes get that to work too.
true, true.
Yeah. Furnace Tap used to give rage. Remember what they took from us?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This clan combo is pretty tough. Umbra, I feel like the story of this conversation is just gonna be, hey guys, Umbra sucks. This clan's real bad.
And the more I think about it, there is some cool stuff. Yeah, I think maybe Awoken's one of the better clans to do Ember Drain strats with, because you have all these multi strikers and sweepers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Ember Drain's just not a very reliable strategy in general. Gets hard countered by Diligent, and every time I freaking get a peril start, I'm against Seraph the Diligent, so that's always sad.
Yeah. Also, you only have 4 Ember Drain cards, and only like one of them actually is a workable plan. The rest of them are like you're committing to Ember Drain for 4 lifesteal or 3 rage. It's kind of
Hmm.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Trample Sweep is good and Awoken is good, but as a clan combo, this is bad. That is my feeling.
Agreed. Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Awoken melting. Yeah, melting's pretty good now. I You can do some weird stuff like reforming your sentient for one last ride and things like that, but generally, I'm still kind of lukewarm on melting, but even still, it's a good combo. You have some fun stuff like Paraffin Enforcer on a sweeper is good, Paraffin Enforcer on a multi-striker is good. This combo's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is all going to be fine just because, there's offensive infusions. You have good lines, good backliners for sentient. You have good options all around. Melting's really good in general. So I have this at B tier. I don't think it's exceptional. They don't particularly play well together, but I mean, you can do melting things in your run and it's going to feel strong. I never have a problem with this, but I'm never looking at it like, oh, I high rolled my clan combos. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing to point out with this combo, I guess both of them for that matter, is that I mean, especially this combo, I would say, has a really weak early game. You have no backline
Oh
targeting.
yeah.
You have either dregs, which are okay in the early game, but not amazing. But combined with champion with zero attack can cause some big issues. Um, for the first couple bosses, it can be bad starts can really mess you up with this one for sure. Um, and like the units can work well together if you get the right ones. Like you said before, Paraffin Enforcer and a sweeper is pretty cool. Like sweepers, I haven't had too much experience with it, but I imagine sweepers work pretty well with Hallowed Hall strats too. Because if you just keep buffing them up, eventually they start dominating the game. But I don't know. It's again a straight. It's kind of like with Umbra, it's I'm you but better. I'm you but stronger basically because it's just like they don't work that well together, but it's just like independently they're both pretty strong clans.
Yeah, I feel like they have enough going. I'm still not certain where I want to put this.
Mhm.
I'm right on the cusp between A and B. You have enough good things in this clan combo, but the more that I think about the good things you have in this combo, it's more like here's something cool that combos with sweep. But you could play like Harvest Baron behind Spike Sentient, you can put spikes on a Harvest Baron. Harvest Baron with a sweeper is good. Paraffin Enforcer on a sweeper is good. Paraffin Enforcer onto Animus of Will is good. Like there's good options for your unit combos, and I feel like those are nice, right? Like, and that's what I'm kind of on the fence about. I think I will give this like I'll give it A tier. Here, I'll break away from the pack today. I'll give it A tier, but like
fair
low
enough.
A tier.
Yeah, I just feel like it's good is the way I would describe it. I would never call this great. I
Yeah,
mean, even if I would say that like melting is, in my opinion, the strongest clan, comparing it to some of these other clan combos that I've put in A tier, I just don't think it gets there.
that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of ranking it as like S is great, incredible, excellent combo. A is good. B is fine. C is eh. D is ugh, and F is just screaming. And
Fair enough.
like A tier is good. Like this combo is good. My tier list kind of skews up as a result, but I think generally a lot of these combos are pretty good. There's not a whole lot of truly terrible things that this game throws your way.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think if they buffed like Umbra even a little bit in areas where it mattered, you might not have very many in like the C and worse tiers in general.
Yeah. That is the weird thing, right? It's the balance of this game is not in such a way where you're losing like in Slay the Spire, right? You're losing not because what you're seeing is bad, but because the game is just very hard and sometimes the challenges you're offered you don't pick the right answers to. This is a game where it's more like, hey, Umbra fundamentally does not work in a lot of fights. And it's an interesting problem that the game faces. Maybe not a problem for most people actually.
I was thinking about something too here, real quick. I was thinking about how like Melting's main form of defense is stealth via a stealth tomb or via engulfed in smoke.
Mhm.
But they also have Purifying Cleanse, which does trigger Rejuvenate. I don't know
Yeah.
how relevant that's ever been for you guys, but I'm thinking of it now. I don't think I've ever actually had that be like a thing I've done. But
No.
a
No.
held over Purifying Cleanse is like not the worst thing ever. Like if you're just if it's not dying from damage is not going to burn out as long as you have it held over.
That's fair. I mean, the
Yeah.
only thing is that the problem is that Awoken has better cards to hold over that heal, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like, in this combo, I'm probably never going to hold over a Purifying Cleanse. And in that case, I almost would prefer like reforming the Sentient instead of whatever else I was doing because it's a full heal, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, also, if you're going to hold over Purifying Cleanse, you could just hold over Restore and put a +10 on it, and you get a similar effect. You're down like 2 health, but you get 2 triggers. So, you know, it's fine. I really don't feel much about this combo other than it's fine. Anything
Up
else?
next.
Yeah.
No, up next.
Oh, you're taking over, Cranberry.
I'm taking over now.
All right, go ahead.
I'm tired of you guys stepping over me.
All right, yeah, go
Up next, where are we? I forgot where we left off.
ahead.
Exile, Awoken, Melting.
Uh-huh.
Uh, how do you guys feel about this combo? Please don't let me do this anymore.
I, I mean, so the only difference here is Windleton,
Mhm.
which again is fine from the perspective of like reforming or whatever. Predator is really silly on like burnout floors with like multiple paraffin enforcers or something.
You do have to be careful if you're playing a quick strategy and your burnout extension plan is Lady of the Reformed. I've had times where my paraffin enforcers
Oh,
got too strong
Oh yeah.
and we stopped getting
yep.
hit.
Yep.
And yeah, they burned out.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever done that with a. I don't think I've ever done Windleton with that, but I'm just saying, quick in general on paraffin enforcer strats, you have to be careful with sometimes. If you're also playing Lady of the Reformed, watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Uh, I'll tell it to you like it is here. I'm gonna, for the first time, I think, in this, actually, no, for the second time in this tier list, I'm gonna put the Exile version of this combo lower than the default version. I think that Wendleton drags down this combo because of the +1 space. All of your units in Melting are 2 size and you want to play a tomb. Same problem that you have with Hellhorned, I feel like. And also, I don't think you get a lot of value out of Root Seeds with Melting. So, I'm gonna give it B tier.
Yeah. It's one thing, like for me, the way I look at it is I, I take Windleton and at worst I throw them away and I just use root seeds, which is fine.
Yeah.
And like I don't need a melting champion to win a run with melting. It feels strong enough already. So with like stealth and I don't know, 2 wickless barons, I have a top floor already set up, and then Windleton just kind of exists and then dies at some point and maybe gets reformed. And it's fine. Like I'm cool with that.
One thing to
I have it
note
at
too. Oh,
oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry, sorry. One
I
thing to
was just
note too
gonna
is that Windleton's a good enabler for drip fall strats. You can play him mid floor, play your barons top floor, and if you get time, you can drip him down and then have a pretty nice overstacked floor.
Yeah.
It's true. I do like generally the clans that have some kind of movement. Ascend to descend is really good in the DLC. I wish more clans had it in like accessible forms.
Hmm.
It's a utility that I value a lot and is better than it usually sounds.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Also, two more notes here. We may as well talk about the Mad Genius strategy that I think will never happen, but you play Strangler with Melting, and your entire game plan is to bring Strangler back for 1 hit, locking 7 heavies to the floor, and then having them with Predator 2, you lock them there for long enough that the Rooted outlast the Relentless, and then the boss goes up killing them all. A strategy that
Okay.
seems very hard to actually make work, but in a more realistic world, Melting has very good options to pair with Strangler, with Stealth, or uh, Wickless Baron, and you can just lock
Yeah.
down the early game really well. You do have to pick up some scaling, but
Yeah,
you know,
it's worth noting that Strangler Predator 2 with a stealth tomb endless is very silly
mm-hmm.
because enemies will never hit you and you've just rooted everything permanently. So you can pretty much do whatever you want. And as if you have even a little bit of damage, you will win Relentless no matter what, which is really interesting when that lines up.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the combo is just fine. I've been a lot cooler on Wendleton in the DLC because his 3 space has become a pretty big uh, problem.
Yeah, 3 space and also the low max HP, two pretty big issues.
Yeah, and the real big thing that changed in the DLC is they fixed mid floor as the one that loses space, and playing top floor is now harder because of the sweep, right? So Wendelton has a lot more trouble fitting into a floor that you want to play him on now that everything's fixed. Because in the past, it was kind of like 50-50, or 66-33, I guess. If you're trying to play top floor, you just go, well, he's up here now, or, oh, we're one floor lower. It's not like that in the DLC anymore. But yeah. Anything else? Actually, Cranberry, you're leading this.
Anything else?
No, Cranberry, I'm good. Thank you for leading this wonderful session.
No problem. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Up next.
Oh, you forgot to ask what tiers.
Oh, yeah. Fuck me. What tiers? I'm putting it at B tier. I think I might have already said it, but I forget.
Yeah,
I got B tier as well.
Yeah, B tier for this bad boy. Up next, we have the Awoken Wormkin combo. Let's start with you, Voyix. How do you feel about this combo?
Ooh, delegating it. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Again, similar to almost everything else we've said with Awoken. This combo's fine. I think it's A tier. You got good support in Wormkin. You have Cycle of Life, but it's a common and costs 3 less. You have really good scaling in Echo Transfer. You have a good Echo card to go with Wormkin. Wormkin units are decent with it. You can play eggs. You can play, like, there's a lot of stuff. Pairing it with the Sentient is good. I think this is an A tier combo.
You also have 2 different Echo infusions to choose from. One
Yeah.
costs 0, one costs 3.
Yeah, inside you there are 2 Echo infusions.
Exactly.
I hate comparing those cards. It's so disrespectful what they've done to my Cycle of Life.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Hey, it was too strong. They had to move it, from 4 to 3 spikes?
Yeah,
you had to nerf this card. Oh my god.
That change is hilarious. I don't think there will ever be a change that surprised me more than opening up those patch notes that one morning and going, they nerfed Glacial Seal.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say. Cycle of Life, and I was like, what about Glacial Seal?
No. Cycle of Life was up there, and seeing them remove Rage from Furnace Tap was also pretty funny. Nothing will top waking up and going, oh, they nerfed like one of the worst, the worst totem in the game. That's incredible.
Seriously, I still to this day cannot understand that decision.
Well, I remember the whole thing was, I think they buffed Frostbite in general. A lot of cards across the board got better in Frostbite, but then they were like, they increased the Frostbite cap.
The cap, yeah.
They removed the cap. They made it higher, so that way they were like, we can't let Frostbite get out of control, guys. We gotta.
And they took more Frost Effigy to 3.
God! Stop Frostbite. It's gonna be too strong.
Sometimes I worry that the developers may watch these videos and then go like, "Oh," but that decision was just out of this world to me.
I don't like, and like, not to be too rude, but I think we talked about it before, maybe even on this series, but they balanced the game not for Covenant 25, more or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure they take into the data from that into account, but they care more about balancing for probably what, Covenant 5-ish, that area. Right? Dusk would know more about this.
They've never specified openly, but it is very data-driven balance, which is to say that they're looking at metrics from all Covenant levels and all styles of play. So, like a new player versus a veteran, for instance, who's been playing for 1,000 hours, and they try to look for outliers in win rates and pick rates. So if a card is getting skipped too much or is always taken, it's usually a target for a nerf. Or if a card is always winning or always losing, those are usually targets for change as well. I don't know how relevant it is these days because, I mean, with the recent announcement that came out, it sure sounds like the game's a little bit on maintenance mode, but we'll see if they do more balance tweaks. But hopefully they do. And if they do, I imagine we'll see the high pick rates, high win rates kind of get toned down and the low ones get toned up a little bit. And we'll see.
Apex Imp.
I sure hope so. Did you see they put him 4 times in the trailer for the Switch version of this game? I was like, guys, you're killing me. He's on every screen.
Yeah, well, he's not on that screen where they put the Hot Shark in the Demon Fiend.
True.
What?
Yeah, they did that.
In the release trailer for the Switch, they say combine units, and then they put a shark in the Demon Fiend.
Okay. Anyway, so
Unbelievable.
the point of what I was trying to get to with
Yeah,
this is that
anyway.
I could understand why the devs might think people are complaining about the frostbite cap because it's not fun. So we need to remove the frostbite cap, but what if this makes frostbite too strong? And I can understand them not realizing, making the connection of like, because the frostbite cap was what 999 before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it used to be
Yeah.
I could understand like someone being like, oh, we need to balance frostbite. But if you had gotten a boss, I mean, this is pre divinity existing, so that doesn't count for that. But if you had gotten a boss to 999 frost, the fight was over.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
you won.
Removing that cap was purely a fun balance because it was like, let's see how high I can make the frostbite. They're not gonna live. No one survives 999 frostbite.
It is also worth noting that there's only one card that realistically gets you to 999 frostbite in the game, and it's
Tethys.
not Glacial Seal.
It's
True.
Tethys.
Anyway, I think we got a little off track here. How
Yeah.
did this
Yeah.
start? We started with Cycle of Life, and then I brought up Glacial Seal. Yeah,
Yes.
ultimately, I think this combo is fine, right?
Yeah. I actually
Worm,
think I'm going to go to bat a little bit for Wormkin here. I think it's one of the best combos with Awoken because Wormkin units are really strong, but very flimsy, and they lack survivability options. They have
yeah,
no healing, no real great solutions. You're like, what, got shelter, maybe some Shard Soul Carver infusions, but that never scales to a point where you win and survive based solely on that. You can just slam heals into your floors and feel great. You know, Sentient is a great frontliner for a Shard Soul Carver or something like that. An egg plays really well with it, and Restore is an excellent infused card. You can play it on your Sentient on it whatever floor you put her on. So I have the Wormkin combo here in A tier because I think it's really solid. It's one of the best combos for Wormkin in general and Awoken.
yeah,
Yeah, I like it at A tier too. I think like just the stat upgrades are very strong. They're very good.
Yeah, right.
Uh, so the critical mass of having both Echo Infusion, Echo Transfer, Razor Sharp Edge, to a lesser extent, Steel Enhancer, having all of these in one clan just increases your odds of seeing them by so much that it'll just by just like sheer like chance your run's gonna be good. Just because
Yep.
you
And
just
there's
have
a
this
lot of
huge amount of them.
yeah, there are a lot of good infusions for sweepers here, and a lot of good infusions for multi-strike like Animus of Will as well. And all of them play nice with infusions, which you want to play, and all of the extract cards are excellent. It really solve each other's problems very well. It's one of the reasons I like them so much. I think that it's no matter which combo you have, Awoken primary, Exile primary, flip them so you have Wormkin instead. They're all really, really good for that reason.
yeah. It's hard to find a combo that Wormkin doesn't do well with, although we already have covered one, and even there, it's
And
not so bad.
we also have access again through Trample via Bogworm Cocoon.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Not a huge, not nearly as prevalent. I think as Trample Stone. I think you have more options to see or more chances to see a rare spell than a rare unit. But it could happen.
Yeah.
What I was thinking about it. I don't know how much I like eggs in this strategy because I feel like unless you give them a large stone, they're going to be pretty frail. Obviously, you have good tanks though, and I feel. Have you ever gotten like a cultivate strategy to work with eggs?
Oh yeah. I mean, like
Yeah, you
the
can do it.
problem you have to worry about is how low damage your floor is before the egg hatches, and the fact that fracture does not do damage to enemies before your egg hatches. It's easy to get baited into, oh, I'm just going to hatch this egg, and then your floor with your champion does 0 damage to enemies, and they just walk up and kill you. And so that's kind of the big risk that you have to worry about. But otherwise, once you can kind of get past that hurdle, maybe play them on different floors. What I tend to do is have like egg top and then sentient with like, I don't know, keeper of echoes middle. And that kind of works the early game. And then once my echo in generation gets good enough, I can pivot to having the egg up top with the sentient, and it works out much better.
I have a follow-up question. How does Animus of Will infusion work on an egg when the eggs hatch? Do the bogflies that hatch also get the -15 attack from the infusion, or is that applied to the egg and then not applied to the flies after hatching?
They get it, but it zeroes out when they enter into combat. So technically, a bogfly is not fly is not affected by the -15 because they already start at 0 attack. Whereas you will notice that like
Oh.
Kinhost pupa friend will lose some attack when he hatches out because he starts with like what is it 20 I think.
Yeah, something
So
like that.
so you're telling me that the stat buffs from the like the base stat buffs on the egg get applied after the fly is hatched then? Because
Yes,
okay, yeah, because if you buff the egg, the flies get buffed. I kind of in my head
right.
assumed that they like inside the egg, the flies already existed kinda, and they were getting the stat buffs. But if they so you're telling me the order is kind of they get summoned, they get the debuff from Animus, but then they get the buff from the eggs afterwards. Gotcha.
Yeah, so like
Weird,
right, that's
but
exactly
cool.
right. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like just playing an Animus of Will infused into a Bogfly. That's the unit that pops out, right? Which means it
Hmm.
always starts at 0, and then any other stuff that gets applied after.
That's cool. Very good too, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
multi-strike into an egg that already hits twice because it's an egg that pops out 2 units, so it kind of goes out of control pretty quickly,
Yeah.
especially with the cultivating added onto it.
And then you give it endless, and you give it sapstone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Then you sap everything to 0, and then you just win for free, basically.
Okay, wrapping up. What did you guys rate this one again?
Uh, A.
I've got an A tier as well. Yeah.
A tier, A tier. I said A tier too. Okay, the final combination we have Exiled, Awoken, and Wormkin. Rising Dusk. How do you feel about this clan combo?
Jesus, Rising Dusk was my father. Come on, man.
Call me little Dusky.
Oh God, call me Lil Dusky Poo. Uh, anyway, I think this is good. I have it at A tier as well. It still complements pretty well, even without Restore or the Sentient. And eggs are small, so you can fit them behind Windleton with Predator, and they kind of become silly. And you only have to answer the question of survivability. And sometimes the egg is also your survivability, right? Like if it's endless or whatever, you can just put it in front and bring it back enough times with, I don't know, Kinhost Carapace's infusion. It wins. I think I still have this at A tier just because all of the Awoken cards are still present and they're all really good. And Root Seeds is excellent on eggs, but otherwise, I mean, the Inspire triggers in this combo are out of control too, right? Root Seeds draws you more cards, you make them 0 cost, you play them all, you get like 10 Inspires a turn, and your Keeper of Echoes now has scaled your entire floor to incredible levels. So it's really strong. I'm a big fan. I say this is A tier.
Voyix.
There you guys. Waiting for my cue. Uh, yeah, I don't like this one as much. I'm gonna give it B tier. Wendleton big. I don't like, but it's like the combo's fine, but I don't like it when Wendleton is big and I try to click on Shard Soul Carver and then I go, oh no.
Just take a size upgrade, you big weenie. Just get over it.
But then I have to. It's not as cool. I don't like it. I want I want the
I'll
big energy.
if
Draw
I
card
could,
good.
Yeah.
if I had an in between A and B tier, I would put it there. I think, but I'm leaning more towards A because you have a lot of really good options here to A keep Windleton alive. You have better cycle of life, and then also cycle of life. You have ways to extend his max HP higher, and then you have like you still have all of those really good buffs. Your Predator Egg is like fantastic. I don't think I've ever gotten Predator and Shardsoul Carver to work together. I think that is actually a pretty good point that you probably can't do that. But you even have access to another sweeper in Pogminder. So like you got a lot of good stuff going on there with Windle. Of course, it's maybe a little too over dependent on Predator, and if you miss it, it might cause some pretty big issues for you. Like it probably just doesn't deserve to be on your floor if you don't have it giving your other units quick. So I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I do. You gotta love. I think I'm pretty sure I've had times where I've just like held over Echo Transfer and slapped it on like Predator 3 Windleton, and he just goes to town.
Yeah, it's
Like
strong.
it with a keeper or keeper of souls, keeper of echoes. What's that guy's
Keeper
name?
of Echoes, yeah.
Keeper of echoes. Yeah, just him as the actual tank, and Windleton as the DPS. You can go Predator 2, Strangler 1. You can go all 3 Predator. A lot of damage. Pretty sweet. So I don't know.
Yeah, you can also play Echo Transfer on Strangler. It's probably one of the more favorable lines for Strangler. You put like holdover on an infused Echo Transfer and just go to town. But still, like the combo is good, but deep in my heart, I don't like it because Wendleton's 3 space, and that makes me unhappy. But the combo is good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I generally agree with all that. It's one of those things where I think Windleton brings it down, but Root Seeds brings it up. So I
Mhm.
tend to kind of balance them out as roughly a wash as long as the rest of the Awoken combo is good. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Dusk, you gotta do the outro. I did the second half.
Wait a minute.
All right, all right, all right. That is the conclusion of our tier listing for this week. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. If you would like to watch more of Cranberry God's YouTube, he has a complete series on a number of games, including ones that he's spoiled for us today, such as Skyrim. You get to see him play a libertarian fire mage, always exceptional. His links
Uh,
for his media will be in the description below. Cranberry, would you like to say anything?
Gary Bonfire 2024. I'm gonna burn down the White House.
This video just
Got
got
it.
flagged.
Oh God. Thank you very much for that, Cranberry.
No
Big
problem.
appreciation. We also, of course, have the channel that you're watching this on. Voyix, your number is 64, right?
Not on YouTube. There's no number, but yeah.
Okay. Well, to hell with the number. We have just Voyix doing a grand job recording Monster Train. You can watch more of his series on this channel. Wow. You probably
What?
already have.
Probably not.
I don't know. And then there's me. I'm Rising Dusk. And I guess I also have a YouTube channel. You can watch that. There will also be a link in the description to that as well. And we appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, friends. Boyx, would you like to say anything? I almost skipped over you.
No, that's okay. Actually, I did want to say something. Congratulations on 150 subs, Dusk. I saw that in the Discord the other day.
Very
Great
Yo,
job.
we're making numbers.
Cranberry,
congrats. Great work.
Cranberry, any milestones recently?
Fuck you.
I thought you had hit 300 recently, right?
Like a month ago, I think, or whatever. I don't
really?
know. Not recently, but thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
trying to congratulate me.
Actually, you know what, Cranberry? Never mind. I take back my congratulations. Congratulations for nothing.
Okay.
Loser.
Yeah.
Thanks. When are you playing Final Fantasy 13-3?
All right, I'm gonna. So, my thinking for the ending of this episode is, Dusk, you can do the outro, and then I'll start to say goodbye, and then cut myself off.
Goodbye. I
sick.
got it in there. You can't stop me.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. We're too. He got us.
Yeah, but then, hit him with the outro, and then I'll cut myself off mid goodbye.
All right, got it. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate this. You know, like the video, comment the video, subscribe the video, and stay tuned for what's next, folks.
Stygian.
All right. Good.